Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's 9/11, and I have some thoughts on that. Speaking of making money,
Oh, we're gonna have a deep 9/11 discussion today, because it is 9/11, and this is going out live.
this is 9/11, and we're live.
And as Jersey boys, this is near and dear to our hearts.
It is.
But also, just being a person of in America.
Yeah, and
You know?
and I have come to understand just the small age difference that we have, and then the bigger.
Bro, I was in 4th grade when 9/11 happened.
Yeah, I was in.
It was like the first week of 4th grade.
Yeah, I was in 10th grade. Christian was probably. Were you even born?
Yeah, I was like 5. I actually remember.
Natalie,
it.
how old were you when 9/11 happened?
4.
4 years old. So I have found myself for really the first time in my life as like the elder statesman in a situation here. And I was reflecting on it as I'm getting on a plane on September 10th. I'm reflecting on 9/11, and I'm going over the news and the notes as we do for the podcast, and I really was very, very, very introspective yesterday about kind of everything that's happened, because I've kind of spent
Like everything that's happened since 9/11.
yeah, because now I've spent more than half my life in a post 9/11 world,
Right.
but I was old enough to understand what the world was like pre 9/11.
Okay. So what were some of the differences?
I try to say this so concisely. 9/11, in retrospect, almost 25 years later, a quarter century later, almost.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
22 years now. 9/11 looks like, in retrospect, that it was the end of the American Republic.
The American Republic.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So there's this idea of the deep state. There's this idea of this global cabal, the Illuminati, the New World, whatever you want to call it, right? Maybe it's been around. You can make an argument that the illusion should have been over when they killed Kennedy. You can make the argument that the illusion should have been over when they lied to get us into Vietnam. You can make the argument that the illusion should have been over when the original World Economic Forum, when Woodrow Wilson formed the League of Nations, and before that, when his election.
The League of Nations is the original economic forum.
Yeah, it's the original UN and the original World Economic Forum, the League of Nations. Woodrow Wilson, what would be considered a communist or an ultra progressive today, massive racist, huge elitist.
Yeah, I heard that too about Woodrow.
A Jersey guy. And the only reason he won is because Teddy Roosevelt split the Republican Party by breaking off into the bull moose to anyway. So the Federal Reserve was brought in 1913. Woodrow Wilson, the creature Jekyll Island. That was the beginning of the end for the American middle class.
Okay.
All right. Before that, now people want to say, when these global interests started getting into America, it was the day the revolution ended. Alexander Hamilton wanted a central bank and a global empire from the second this country was founded. The founders are
Alexander Hamilton did.
Alexander Hamilton, yeah, which is crazy.
And
that
they
he's
made
like,
who they made the play after.
yeah,
He wanted a what?
he wanted a central bank.
Okay.
He wanted an American monarchy. He wanted an aristocratic system where everybody
Monarchy
kicked
means
up.
like king and queens.
That's
and
right.
shit?
Yeah, he wanted and he wanted a global empire. He
Okay.
wanted us to be the new Britain at the time.
Okay.
And all the founders were like, "No, we just left
Yeah,
Britain.
we wanted something different.
What are you doing? What the
Why do
founding-
they? And what's the play about? Why do they celebrate him so much? He's celebrating the play, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like
He's like the protagonist. the hero.
they've rebranded him as like the founding father of the marginalized communities, of the black community or whatever, because he was from the Bahamas. But he was a British aristocrat.
Oh, so who had taken over the Bahamas?
pretty much. But they claim like he probably had some black ancestry. There's like this.
Yeah, they probably raped him.
Yeah.
The British took over the Bahamas, and that was one of their colonies.
Alexander Hamilton was not a man of the people. Anybody who's ever read the Federalist Papers would know how ridiculous this is. My theory on it is this is more global left-wing communist propaganda bull.
Not just some idiot made a play.
No, it's not some idiot made a play. It's some idiot got financing from somebody to make the play. Where does he get the financing from? Oh, you're going to make a play about the only big government central bank founding father. A guy the founding fathers like so much.
Do they like cheer?
Somebody shot him in the face.
Did they cheer about the central bank in the play? Did you see Hamilton?
I didn't see Hamilton.
No, me neither.
No, I didn't see
But who shot him in the face?
Does anybody know? Who knows? Who knows?
I don't know.
It was wait. Actually, I do.
Oh,
Aaron
no.
Burr.
That's right. Aaron Berg, our very own Gas Digital's Aaron Berg.
Is it Burr?
Yeah, it's Burr. Aaron Burr.
B-U-R-R.
Yeah, who was the vice president? Was the vice president at the time?
And they did what's the fuck's it called?
A duel.
A duel.
Yep.
They stood back. They walked a certain amount of paces, and then when did someone say go? And you turn around and you mostly, it's like, hey, we got balls and I'll shoot up in the tree.
Correct.
And we'll miss each other on purpose. We don't need to die over this. We realize now, but we gotta be. We have pride and whatever.
Yes.
Is it this guy?
So I'll.
Aaron Burr, yeah.
But then,
New York.
But this motherfucker shot him right in the face.
Chest, yeah. I was being hyperbolic. Shot him in the chest.
You lied to me.
But yes, you're right. And Hamilton basically said that. Hamilton was like the original woke progressive of his time.
He
He
said
was
what?
like, this is a barbaric display. If I must prove my manhood to you, I will prove my manhood. But I will not shoot at you. You know? And Burr's like,
You should shoot at me.
all right.
And Burr was feeling real relaxed. He was like, this is gonna be a cinch.
Okay. You sure?
He closed one eye and took his time and
I refuse to deal in this barbarism.
he was like,
Yeah, exactly. You sure about that? You sure about that?
A cinch, huh?
Yeah.
cinch.
I love that word.
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
cinch.
So, all that is to say, what does that
Right.
mean with
9/11
9/11 and today? It's very obvious there's always been outside pressures trying to take our government from us from day one. And there's different places where you can say this is where it started, but I am fairly confident that where it ended was 9/11.
Okay.
Because 9/11 gave us the Patriot Act. 9/11 brought in what was referred to as the new American century, and basically took the sovereignty from us, the citizens, put it in control of our political elites, who are now putting it in control of the global elites. And I understand what this sounds like to people. This sounds like a conspiracy theory, but let me tell you something about conspiracy theories, okay? It is 100% true that those towers hit, that those planes hit those towers. I saw it.
Right.
I went to the funerals of my father's friends and colleagues.
Same. I spent the next day at family members' houses of people who passed.
On a personal note, my dad was out of work. He had been working 2 jobs his whole life. And he got laid off in the end of 2000. His company got bought by a larger bank, and he took a buyout. And he had been out of work for a little over a year, and he was really getting stressed. Really, really. Like it was
Itching to get back in the
yeah,
workforce.
and it was very tough on our family. And he had finally gotten a call back for a second interview. And he did the interview, and then he found out he didn't get the job. And that was September 9th. And September 11th, had he gotten that job, he would have been 110 floors up on Tower 2.
Brother, I've heard so many crazy stories of people who were almost involved in that.
Yeah.
There's so many like almosts out there.
Well, we grew up in an area that was that makes sense
I
because
mean, we
grew
live
up in an
30
area
minutes from the city.
with that the entire financial district of Wall Street supported the entire
Yeah. So
New
people,
York
people's
metropolitan
families, they live in Jersey but work in the city.
Yeah, and my dad worked on Wall Street back then, and yeah, so
Holy
he knew a lot of
smokes.
guys.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that story about you
yeah.
guys.
Crazy,
thank God.
crazy, very, 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 very. God, we're lucky, but there were people that were unlucky. So
Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be on the plane.
That's right.
We never would have had Family Guy.
yeah, and he got hung over. He was too drunk.
He was too
missed
drunk
it.
and missed his flight. It was
So-
an accident. He's probably pissed.
So, for the longest time, I not only rejected, I got mad at any conspiracy theorist about 9/11. I was like, how dare you? How dare you besmirch the dead? How dare you stand on these people's graves to make your political point? Michael Moore makes loose change.
Right.
You know, and over time, you come to realize it's the opposite. It's not standing on their graves. It's speaking for them because they can't speak for themselves anymore. These people, something happened. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I understand what you're saying about standing on the graves, but really, the guys making those and talking about it are speaking up for the people who were killed.
Yeah, in my brain, in my young, immature mind, I heard people talking about 9/11 conspiracy theories, and somehow I internalized that as like somehow the people didn't die, or like, you know, or they're trying to profit off of this tragedy.
Right.
When it's the opposite. These people, something happened. Something
fishy
happened that they're not telling the truth about.
Sure.
And there's just no denying at this point that they're not telling. 3,000 people died on 9/11.
Right. And the day before, Donald Rumsfeld was talking about how there's like $3 or $4 billion missing. Trillion.
2.3 trillion.
$2.3 trillion are missing, an accounting error.
Donald Rumsfeld.
And then the next day, planes hit, and the accounting room's destroyed, along with Tower 7 and the 2 buildings.
You know what? I'm not even going to get to the specifics of it. I'm going to let people do their own research. You're right. But I don't want to get into the specifics of it because there's things that I don't know. But here's the one thing I do know. When people, that's the thing. When people talk about conspiracy theorists, you're a conspiracy theorist. Do you know why there's conspiracy theories?
Because there's conspiracies?
Because they've never told us the truth. They've never told us the truth. We're left with nothing but speculation. Mm-hmm. They're so obviously lying. A man who's running for president now, Vivek Ramaswamy, says the 9/11 Commission is full of shit. Man running for president. And what's wild about that, CNN, liberal CNN, calls him a crazy conspiracy theorist. Don't you think by questioning, this is an actual quote, by questioning the official narrative, this is a supposed journalist saying this. It's your job
to question the narrative.
It's your job.
That's hilarious.
Don't you think
these people are so bought and sold?
Don't you think by questioning the official narrative,
that's so funny,
you're giving power?
You lose your journalism card right there.
That's it.
It's like, wait, then you obviously don't know what being a journalist is.
You're a propagandist.
You're just exactly a propagandist. You're bought and sold. You're running
PR for the machine, man.
That's wild.
Yeah. What is her name? Caitlin Collins or whatever her name is.
Wild.
Yeah. Don't you think this gives power to dangerous conspiracy theories? And I'm sitting here because I'm older than you guys, with my mind blown. Questioning the official narrative of 9/11 was a left-wing badge of honor when I was a kid.
Yeah, because it was the Republicans did it.
There was protests
on Bush was in the White House. Right.
But not just Bush. This is what's crazy. Cheney, Bill Kristol, the guy who put together the NGO, the PAC, the lobby, the New American Century.
Right.
All of these rich men north of Richmond. Team Bush. Now what team are they on? Biden.
Biden, yeah.
Do you know Biden has on multiple occasions bragged about he wrote the Patriot Act? He gets mad he doesn't get credit for the Patriot Act. For people that don't know what the Patriot Act, real quick, Mick.
Yeah,
Mick,
that's what I was going to say.
Christian, what does the Patriot Act mean to you? How old are you, Christian?
Oh, no. Just 26.
If it means nothing to you, it's okay. This is kind of my point. Do you even know what the Patriot Act is? Do you know what it means?
I know what it is. I just can't think of it.
It's not a test, bro. Nat, does the Patriot Act mean anything to you?
Yeah, a little bit.
What does the Patriot Act mean to you?
Is it not basically that it's, I don't know what the exact wording is, but it is something to do with reduced freedom of privacy in an attempt at safety?
Sure.
Something like that?
That's a fair summation. But to be as blunt and as honest as we can be, the Patriot Act is a nullification of the Bill of Rights.
Yes. That's when they took your rights away.
They took your rights away. And then they lied about doing it, which was even more insane. And Edward Snowden and Julian Assange caught them.
Yep.
Now, here is where this great American experiment ended, and this is how we know it ended. The people that took our rights away are in power still to this day. They're more powerful than they've ever been. Edward Snowden is in Russia in exile. Julian Assange is dying in prison. The people that exposed the corruption have been punished. The people that implemented the corruption are in power. Since that day, 4.5 million people, I've sent these to you, pull them up if you can, Christian. 4.5 million people have died due to our foreign policy decisions. The war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, Lebanon, Syria, Libya. 4.5 million people have died.
Yeah.
We, as Americans, have spent $15 trillion to kill those people. What did we get for this new American empire? Well,
Shrinkflation.
the dollar, $1 that you had in 2001 is worth 57 cents today.
Wow.
You are half as wealthy. Then not only did they destroy the dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Not only did they destroy the dollar, Mick, but they actually physically took the wealth. The Great Recession in 2008 took away, some estimates say 25%, some estimates say as much as 40% of all savings from the middle class. They stole a generation's wealth. They stole my father's generation, your father's generation's wealth, and they took our ability to earn wealth away from us. They made the dollar worth less, and they made everything more expensive at the same time. Mm-hmm. Now you lead into 2030. You will own nothing and be happy. They did that. They did that. They killed 4.5 million people. We spent $15 trillion and didn't fix a pothole in this country. Who got that money? Where'd that money go? Think about COVID. We spent $9 trillion in the last 3 years. What in our country is better?
Yeah.
Where is this money going? We are killing people abroad. And what do? If you question the official narrative, they call you a dangerous conspiracy theorist. They silence you. They silence you for questioning.
So what do we need? We need a change in regime?
My man.
We need to get the people who are involved in all this out?
We need to be bold. We need to be bold, and they're making it hard because they're giving out sentences. They're showing you what is what. They're showing you what's what. They're handing out sentences of 22 years to people who weren't even at January 6th. We had Scott Fairlamb on this show who got 2.5 years of his life stolen from him. Meanwhile, their protesters can go out, form an entire new country, Chaz Chop, in Seattle, where people are murdered and raped. They can loot, they can steal, and nothing happens to them.
I gotta look into this Chaz Chop thing.
Nothing happens to them.
I don't know nothing about this.
Chaz Chop, they broke off a break-off country. It lasted like 4 days.
Oh, so it's done now.
Yeah. But they didn't get charged with sedition. They didn't get charged with sedition. It was a summer of love.
So
riots.
So it's way worse than it was in 9/11 because now that was the end of sparked the end of the American Republic. Now we've been controlled by these elites who are making everything worse.
That's right.
And eventually want to make it even worse in 2030.
I just want to be concise. It's very, very important that people understand the same people that were in charge during 9/11, because people think it was a Republican thing.
Right.
They're still in charge now.
Who's them? Who's they?
Dick Cheney. Democrats are sending around this viral video of Dick Cheney talking about you can't elect Donald Trump. Dick Cheney's now on the side of the Democrats. Bill Kristol is on the side of the Democrats. Biden is bragging about the fact that he authored the Patriot Act. We have actual governors saying the Constitution doesn't matter. They're saying, I can suspend the First Amendment, Second Amendment. They already did it with COVID. Now they're doing it because of gun violence. I don't know if you saw that in Albuquerque. She just suspended the First Amendment and Second Amendment, said, there's an epidemic of gun violence. You don't have Second Amendment rights.
Well, when when you can't get guns lawfully, only the outlaws will have guns.
They asked her that, Mick. They asked her that. They said, don't you think that we're having a problem with the cartels? Do you think the people carrying guns that are already criminals are going to stop carrying guns? She says no. She admits, she says no, but something has to be done. So
that's not the right thing.
So disarm the lawful citizens?
Yeah, that.
Brother,
hide your gun.
It's so important that people really understand the situation that's going on. All right, I love America to death. I love America. I've been doing this country my whole life. I left home at 17. I've been coast to coast, north and south, everywhere in between. This country is amazing. It's filled of amazing people. David Adiv, he's traveled the whole world. He said, "There's no place like this place. There's no place like this place. There's no place like this where." I wish you guys could have been alive and really understood what it was like to be growing up in the 90s, man. Early 2000s. It was fun. It was the Pax Americana. We had just finished war in our minds. The big bad Russia was gone. The good guys won. We got love. We got peace. The races are together. Will Smith is the biggest star in the world. Fresh Prince is the biggest show on television. The best golfer on earth is black. The best rapper on earth is white. Everything was great. We were Americans, man. We had won.
Okay.
And then slowly but surely, they started stealing from us. Then they wanted their riches. They were the only power in the world. And in 2008, there was a recession. They got greedy. The war cost too much. They lost control. Occupy Wall Street was the first thing that happened. Finally, the people, after 10 years of bullshit, looked up and said, we got to do something about this. The corporations and the government are corrupt. They're stealing from us. And you had Black Panthers and Tea Party Republicans marching together hand in hand saying, Wall Street's us. Wall Street is in bed with government and they're screwing us. And so the theory now becomes that Wall Street and the banks got together and said, well, we got to divide these people. We can't have these people coming together. Just let's start a race war. Let's start a gender war. Let's say that straight people hate gay people. Let's get these people fighting with each other about things that they can't change about themselves. It's not it's not like an intellectual debate where we can have like a conversation and say, well, I agree with more government spending. I disagree with, we can change and change our minds or have an intellectual. You can't change who you are. And that's what they did. They got us to fight with each other over things we can't change. And while we're fighting with each other over things we can't change, they stole another decade from us. And now, 2000, this election, not even allowed to question if it's fishy. No matter how fishy it is, not allowed to question it. They silence you. They censor you. They put you in jail. And we're coming up on 2024.
So what's your call to action?
Be bold, man.
Be bold how?
The future favors the bold. Be loud.
Be loud, like loud in your truth.
Be loud in your truth.
Trust yourself. Educate yourself. Trust your brain. If something's telling you something's off or something's wrong and something's fishy, don't be afraid to speak up about it.
Yeah, and don't be kind. Don't be kind. They've used our kindness for weakness. Yeah. Don't be nice. Be bold. Somebody says we got to wear this mask. You tell them no.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Make them feel it. Do not give that business $1. Put that business out of business.
Right.
Make them feel it. They're trying to implement the repression of you as a human being. This is not political.
Right.
They're closing the walls in on your cell.
So maintain that. Put your arms up and take a little bit of a stand and don't when they tell you have to wear a mask to come in here.
Absolutely.
Either say I'm sorry, I'm not with all that shit. If you are, I'll leave.
Because you know why, Mick? So many other people feel that way, but they're looking for somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
They're looking.
Now I think you can do it, kind of politely, but just let them know, they're losing your business. Like you don't need to be like, you don't have to be like that.
That's probably not the way to do it.
You can be, disagreeable, but you can also do it, like how he said, you don't have to be nice, but you can be kind about it. You can do it in a, in a kind way.
Then we have to have the will to do what needs doing. We have to have the will to take the country back from the people that stole it. And I'm not talking about Democrats, and I'm not talking about Joe Biden. I'm talking about 2001. I'm talking about global interests. I'm talking about 600 elected federal officials that have put 330 million Americans in a recession, that have increased the price of food and gas on 330 million Americans, that won't tell you what happened to 2,000 missing people in Maui, that locked you down for an arbitrary amount of time over things that they now admit were bullshit, didn't work, the lockdowns didn't work, the mask mandates didn't work, and they're bringing them back. Because
How are they bringing the mask mandates back?
Because the truth of the matter is, Mick, the mask mandates did work.
What's the point of the mask?
They did work.
Why a mask again?
The point of the mask was to get rid of Donald Trump. It worked. Deep down
He's still
in the
bopping around. He's probably more popular than ever.
Deep down in the deepest orifices of their soul, these people will admit to you that they loved COVID. COVID gave them everything they ever wanted.
Okay.
COVID gave them the power that they wanted. They love 9/11 because it was a distraction.
Love 9/11, huh?
They love 9/11. It was a distraction.
Well, the ones who made it, who did it?
Oh, yeah. Look at the power it gave them.
Right. Patriot Act.
And nobody even looked at them. Nobody even looked at inside of us and said, what did we do to get Osama bin Laden so mad? And then you look at Madeleine Albright.
He hates our freedom.
2 years earlier, Madeleine Albright doing an interview where she admits to killing 500,000 people in the Middle East.
Why'd she do that?
Well, we thought about it. You can see the video. Dave Smith played it on Rogan. We thought about it, and we said, you know what? This is terrible, but it's worth it. It's worth it to protect Americans. There we go. We got to kill 500,000 people to protect Americans. Just the same way they're talking about the way to protect democracy now. Pull this up, Christian. I couldn't believe this. And so many people, I'm pulling up Rob Reiner because he's the loudest one on Twitter, but so many people retweeted this. Rob Reiner says the only way to protect democracy is to make it illegal for Joe Biden's opponents to run against him.
Is it just a tweet or a video?
Yeah, I texted it to you, bro.
Oh, gotcha.